y'all, and welcome back. Thank you so much for taking the time out of your day to check out another one of my videos. And as you can see, looking a little crazy here. I typically don't wear two different eye looks in a video, but I wanted to try two different palettes that are newer palettes that have been on my needing to try pile and do a video on because you guys requested them and were curious to hear my thoughts on. So since I've been so, just wrapped up and busy with Catesgiving, I decided to fit this video in here during Catesgiving and do one look on each eye. So it's only one video, but you get two new palettes and you get my first impressions on two new palettes, or two newer palettes in the indie makeup world. One of them being from Wicket Widow Cosmetics. I can't remember what the name of this palette is, and I don't have the box, so I'll put it on the screen here, but it's shaped like a boot, and I can't find the name of the palette on the actual palette anywhere, unless I'm missing it, and which I don't think I am. So anyway, this palette right here is from Wicket Widow Cosmetics. They actually sent it over to me, which I was very appreciative of them wanting to send it to me, but it has, what is this, 5 mattes, 2 shimmers, and 3 pressed glitters. Now I did hear that they are also launching another version of this with no pressed glitters, and they're all shimmers, which I think is awesome because I'm not the biggest fan of pressed shimmers. I know not a lot of people are, so I'm glad that they're giving that option. But my version today does have the pressed glitters, so I did use them, and so you're gonna see that in action in a minute. And then the other palette that I'm trying out is the new Mydas, M-Y-D-A-S, Mydas Cosmetics Sinti palette. Now, if you didn't know, Mydas, M-I-D-A-S, has been around in the indie makeup world for a while, but I think at the beginning of this year, or last year, I can't even remember, they announced that they were shutting down. They were closing due to the owner just needing to focus on other things during this time of her life. But then a couple months ago, she started teasing that she was going to rebrand and come back. So M-Y-D-A-S is the rebranding of her makeup brand instead of just coming back as M-I-D-A-S, Mydas, which she was, before she shut down. Anyway, I feel like I complicated that more than it needed to be. But anyway, this is the palette, her first palette launch since rebranding. And this is the other palette that we're going to be playing today. As I said, I have one on each eye. I'm sure you can guess which one's on which eye at this point, but we're gonna be putting them on our eyes, and I'm gonna just kind of be sharing my first impressions with these palettes with you guys as I go along. So let's go ahead and keep this intro short and sweet and dive right into putting both of these palettes on my eyes. Alright, so let's first dive into the new Mydas Cosmetics M-Y-D-A-S. I think it's Sinti. I honestly don't know, but here's the cover. Obviously, you guys have already seen it. This is what the inside looks like. And there are no glitters or anything like that. This one looks like a very foiled type of shadow, as does this, like flaky foil. And then these two kind of look more like a typical shimmer with just chunks in it. I'm assuming that they're just going to mix right in and won't be anything won't make a huge difference because there's just a teeny bit in each, but they will, I'm assuming, lighten them. I'm kind of bummed that they are so similar in color, especially with so many fun colors, to have these kind of beiges or browns, tans, these tan shades, I don't know, bronzes to put on the lid. I am glad they had these two, which is probably what I'm going to focus on. I feel like this is going to be my favorite type of color that I've seen in many palettes. I know the Get Lucky palette had one, and I want to say even the Gourmande girls. This shift seems stronger though. So I'm excited to try that, but I'm going to put that on the inner half and probably put a touch of this on the outer half. And then what should we do? I'm going to do the blue because that's the darkest shade on the outer corner. And let's go ahead and play with this shade to blend out that blue, just because this looks so very pretty. And then I think I'm going to do, should I do green or should I do a more warm tone for the inner corner? I think I'm going to do green. And then that'll make the pink and the blue on the lid pop. That's my plan, so let's dive in. I know I've mentioned about Mydas Cosmetics shutting down and then coming back and rebranding, just letting you guys know, but I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts on brands doing this. I feel like it's mostly indie brands that I've seen say they're shutting down and then coming back. I think the first time I saw it was with Blush Tribe. That's the first time I remember, I guess. But now Mydas is, and actually Dee Dee Signature posted something the other day talking about how she's doing better and she misses this place and has big plans for 2023. I have no idea what that means, but it kind of got me thinking, is she gonna come back? I'd love to hear what you guys think about it. I think initially I was kind of you said you were shutting down, but then you're coming back. But I also kind of was thinking about it in that being indie brands, I feel like, have done this, is maybe because it's more of a personal, not family run, but single person run business. If, they have a lot going on in their life where they makes them feel in the moment like they have to, shut down. And so they do, but then later on they get in a better place. Maybe that is why the comeback, because for me personally, if a brand's not doing well and they need to shut down and rebrand, I would kind of prefer them just to say, hey, I have to shut this down, but I'm going to be coming back because I want to rebrand. Or if they have plans to keep going, just say, hey, I'm going to I don't know, pause and go let my brand go dormant for a bit, but I'll be back in a year. But I don't know, maybe with it being run by people, maybe back then, you know, for Mydas Cosmetics, when she did announce she was shutting down, she really thought it was the end of everything, and then getting to a better place with her health or whatever was going on in her life made her feel like, oh, you know, I can, you know, come back and do this. Maybe that's why she decided to just rebrand, since she did say she was shutting down already, and come back to the beauty community. I don't know, I've just been thinking about it a good bit and just kind of wondering what you guys are thinking about it, because like, I don't know, maybe I was alone here, but I was a little bit like, kind of with Blush Tribe, I think they were a little bit, when they first came back, people were like, wait a minute, I thought you said you were shutting down, but now you're coming back. But I'm thinking about it more, I think it might have to do more so, and this is just my assumptions and my guesses, but to do more so with it being run by individual people who at the time that they were shutting down really did feel like that was the end, but maybe get into a better place with their health or whatever that was going on, they want to try again. And so that's why they do the rebrand, so it's not like so it's not so much like a hey, we're closing down, never mind, we're back type of thing. It was, hey, we're closing down, we're gonna rebrand and come back stronger, that type of thing. I don't know, what do you guys think? These two shades, I feel like they're pigmented, but I don't know if you saw the blue, the dark blue, as I was putting on the lighter blue, wasn't looking very promising. I've tapped it all back on and it's looking better, but it was definitely starting to look a little bit chalky, not patchy, but it was looking like I wanted to dust away, which had me a little bit scared. And I feel like, let me really dive in there and pack it on. I don't know, I feel like it's not, I have to be a little bit careful. I use the ABH concealer primer if you're curious, but I think I kind of saved it so it's not, it doesn't look patchy or anything like that, but it was definitely going that direction, which is a little concerning. So now I'm just gonna go, let's use this little e.l.f., or no, Morphe brush. I'm gonna go into that green, and let's put this on the rest of the inner corner and see how much. I remember really loving Mydas Cosmetics mattes, Mydas with an I. That's how I'm gonna have to differentiate the two. Mydas with an I and Mydas with a Y. But Mydas, the original brand, M-I-D-A-S, I really love their mattes. It was, I do remember them being like feeling thinner and not like feeling a little bit dry. Kinda, I think, I do remember them maybe feeling a touch dry, but I mean nicely pigmented, not super dry. Like I feel like DT Signature had a very dry brand. When you touched it, it was like, oh my goodness, these feel relatively, like not dry as in I can't pick anything up, but they just felt dry. Like they felt pigmented, you could pick them up easy, but they had a dryness to them. I remember Mydas having a nice soft formula and being super pigmented. So I feel like these, they feel really soft, they pick up nicely, but I mean, I guess it's okay. I don't know, I feel like it's a little bit understated. I'm gonna take this shade. So we use this one and this one on the eyes, or on the outer corner, this one on the inner corner. I'm gonna take this one and kind of use that to bridge these two colors and just kind of make it nice and seamless. They feel nice, but kind of using them, they're looking thinner. I don't know if that's just a base, like maybe it doesn't like the eyeshadow base. I've used this eyeshadow base before and it tends to be fine. Like I tend to not have huge issues with it, but I'm sure that means it doesn't always like play well. I'm sure there are still some formulas that it just doesn't play well with. But yeah, even this one, I'm going on, it's so dark and I feel like it's just the very faintest of colors. I mean, it's coloring it, it's making a difference. Not saying it's not, but I'm not impressed. Like that shade almost just looks like what I put on the outer corner, if you know what I mean. A little bit lackluster, I guess is the way I would describe it. I'm gonna go in with that deepest shade again. And let's just kind of touch around, because I still feel like all the colors aren't as cohesive as I like, but I'm also just kind of feeling like I can't play around with it too much because I don't want it to start patching up. But I mean, I guess that's pretty. It's just a little bit softer than I was envisioning, and that inner corner shade definitely, maybe, again, maybe it's a shade that needs to be stuck down first and then the lighter color on top. All right, I'm gonna put on a little bit of this. This is the Mydas Cosmetics primer. I like it because it's super sticky, but it gives a little bit of color. All right, so as I said, I'm going to stick to those two shades, this on the outer edge and then this all over the eye. Kinda, I'm gonna cut it above and then put the darker blue below. So I'm gonna go in first with my the lighter shade, just so that kind of sticks down first. It kind of has that putty-like texture, just like the Saints, Angels, Sinners, and the Gourmande Girl, that type of formula, where it feels like a super shock. Let me see how it picks up, if it still picks up nicely. I'm using my left hand here, because somebody's snuggling with my right. Alright, not the easiest to pick up, with this flat brush, but it's doable. It's got a pretty shine to it. I'm gonna go in with my finger. Like, look at that shine. I'm gonna press it down with my finger because I feel like that's the way to really get it on. I just don't have a lot of precision with that. Very pretty. Yeah, that's pretty. I feel like it could also, oh my goodness, used a better base, like maybe a white to really make it pop, since it is more of a see-through type of iridescent color. But that's pretty for sure. And I do feel like it's exactly that same type of color as what's in, I think it's the Gourmande Girl. I know it's in the Get Lucky palette, it's that center shade. Oh, and I feel like there was another palette that had this, but I'm blanking on it.
Okay.
Are you gonna play with the cards? You wanna set them out on the floor?
Yeah.
Okay. He's gonna play with my Paletopoly cards. Those come in handy when I'm trying to do my makeup with him. Okay, that looks really pretty. I'm gonna go cut this a little bit higher. It's pretty, it's just a little bit tedious to get it to put on because it's so, or to get it to show up. Obviously, like you guys know, I like it because it's so lightly colored. Anyway, I'm gonna flip that same brush over and go into that dark blue. This shade also kind of feels the same and also doesn't look like it's gonna want to pick up. Yeah, it's that formula that really needs, oh, you know, I can do this brush. This type of sponge tip applicator. Let me see if this works. I'm assuming it will. Oh, I wonder if this is a duochrome. I kind of see, or a multichrome. I kind of see a purple. I think it's blue with a pink shift, so I don't know if that makes it a duochrome more than a multichrome. But yeah, this definitely works. It's just so small. I'm just gonna go with my finger since I already got it dirty. But yeah, if you have a sponge tip applicator, that'll work too. Yeah, these are pretty, for sure. And then I'm just gonna clean off that brush and go back over with the other shade, which I guess they all have names. This is TD and the blue was Effecto. I forget what this palette was inspired by. I know she said it, but I'm absolutely blanking on it. I feel so bad. But anyway, I don't know if I kind of finished my thoughts. I think I did, just basically saying that I feel like it's not so much them trying to like pull one over on us in a sense, but more so I feel like it's just more so you know, the owners just feeling in the moment when they say they're going to shut it down, like they really do need to shut it down, but then, you know, later, a year, months later, whatever the case is, feeling like they can, you know, get back into it. And so then that's why they decide to rebrand instead of coming back saying, never mind, I'm not shutting down, because that would also, I feel like, be really bad for them to say we're shutting down, closing everything out, and then a year later say never mind, we're coming back. So I think that's why maybe the indie brands, I've been seeing a lot, and I shouldn't say a lot of them, just a couple of them saying that they're coming back as a rebrand. But I'd love to hear your thoughts. Maybe that's just my assumption. I'm gonna go back into that darkest blue and just use that to tap over on the outer corner. The shimmers are absolutely beautiful. They're difficult to put on in the same way that, like, I would talk about the Ethereal palette, Gourmande Girls. And I feel like the Get Lucky palette was a little bit easier to apply with a brush. I'm gonna go in with that purple just to see how good and intense this shade is. I feel like overall with the mattes, I haven't been incredibly impressed, which is kind of sad because, like I said, I used to really love Midas's mattes, but I don't know, maybe I just need to play around with it some more. But I feel like just using this one look, they've just been kind of like, okay. And I'm gonna go into that darkest blue now. Pack it on this brush as much as I can. I'm just going to use this on the outer corner just to get a little bit more depth here. And I guess I should have used this first since, yeah, I think maybe that's the thing with these mattes. You got to use whichever one you want to be most intense and dominant on. That part has got to be used first because otherwise it's just very light. They're not like, I don't know, they don't like to stack on top of each other well to add depth. I mean, I guess I did get a purple look, but I just felt like, I don't know, this blue is so dark, and like seeing it there, it just kind of looks like a mid-tone color more so than a dark shade. I'm just taking this brush clean, running it over the edges like so, and that's pretty much the look. Let's pop on the inner corner. Let's clean this brush off. And then I'm gonna do the lighter of the two, I guess. I'll go into this shade right there for the inner corner. A little bit dark. If it's dark, I'll just cover it with that middle shade. Yeah, not the best. I just wanted to try it. Let's top it with that other shade with the pinky shift that I put on the inner part of the lid. just to lighten it back up. Yeah, those two shimmers, I mean, I only used in this tiny spot, but they just look like kind of regular shimmers that look a little marbled to be pretty when you first get it, but I don't think that's really gonna do much to like make a difference with the shadow in the long term as you use it. But anyway, here's the look. What do you guys think? I feel like I've already said it. The mattes, I'm a little bit, I don't know, it's fine. I got it to look fine, but I definitely feel like I had to tiptoe around the mattes to make sure they worked. But let's move on over to the next side, the next palette. Okay, here's what we got. Hold it like this. I'm gonna do this on the outer corner. Or should I do this on the outer corner? Let's do purple. You guys won't expect that. Purple, I might add a touch of green if I really want to add some depth to that purple. So we'll go purple and then blend out with this purple here, and then we'll probably use a combination of these two on the inner half. And then for the lid, I think I'm going to use these two. This on the inner portion and this, well maybe, I don't know, we'll decide the lid in a minute because that's one I'm not as sure on, but let's go ahead and do a purpley on the outer corner. So let's pop this on the inner, or on the outer corner. It's pretty powdery when I was dipping into it. It feels like a good amount of kick up, which I'm not saying is a bad thing. That's kind of promising for me. So I'm just gonna work to stamp that down so I don't get too much fallout before I kind of blend it out. Yeah, this is a pretty light toned outer corner. You guys know me. I wish it had a little bit of that blue. I feel like the blue would go really well to deepen out to a deeper purple out here. But all we got is the green, so I'm gonna just go on that same brush and get a little green and see if I can, I guess it's gonna make it more of a brown, but I'm going to try to sandwich the two. So I'm gonna pop some of the green in here, just on the outer corner. I don't wanna make this whole outer corner just brown. So like that, and then I'm gonna clean it off a little bit so we don't get too much of the green left, and go back into that purple and pop that on top. I feel like just right away, touching this shade compared to the Mydas on the other side, they're a lot more powdery soft and like a powdery pigment to them than the other side. But so far so good. The shade is looking nice. I'm still keeping that purple aspect, but I definitely got a little bit deeper on the outer corner. I'm gonna put this right on top. I feel like this is gonna be a pretty seamless blend because these two are so close, and hue is just one, you know, it's a little bit lighter than the darker shade. There's that. I think that's pretty easy to get those two. Yep. Uh-oh, put the hair to the side. I'm sure you'll find a lot of hair in here, bub. Yeah, they're both very powdery, pigmented is how I would describe them. Okay, now we're gonna go into that green. You have to tell me if you've heard of this brand before. I'm brand new to this brand. I think they've launched a couple palettes that I have mentioned before in my Will I Buy It videos, but this is the first time I kind of took a hard look, and then they reached out asking if they could send me a palette. So, my first time trying them. Okay, this is going on. It's a little bit like it's wanting to look patchy, but I feel like I can smooth it out and it'd be fine. It's more of a softer green. I don't know, it's going on okay, but there's like almost like the same with the, I was talking about on the other side, kind of overall softness to it. Let me just take this and blend it out. I'm going to tap into a little bit of that. Well, no, actually I'm just going to keep it. I was going to go into this shade, but I'll use it on the lower lash line. I'm just going to have green in the inner portion. And I feel like maybe it's the brush that it's not liking, but I feel like wherever I pinpoint it is kind of like the intense parts, the darker parts of this color looks skippy instead of diffusing out nicely. I'm going to go in with this brush just to help diffuse it to make sure there's not any weird like patches of more pigment than others. I think that's what I'm talking about. I'm going to tap into it a little bit more and put it right here just to help these two mesh together. Like that. Okay, then I'm going to go back into that purple on more of just the tip of this brush, and I'm going to try to get a bit of a blend. I know it's not going to blend perfectly, but just so it's not a harsh, weird line, I'm going to take that lighter shade, lighter purple, blend over on top, and I think that's what we're going to do. Yeah, I mean, I think it looks fine. Am I super impressed, or like, I feel bad saying like not impressed, but there's something lacking with the pigment and the intensity of these shades that I'm not like, has me like looking at it just going like, oh, okay, that's nice. Kind of like with the same with this side. They're just, you know, they're okay. They're lacking intensity to the color maybe, or I don't know, depth. Maybe they're lacking depth to the colors that I'm wanting, because they just kind of all look, Like once I blend out any of those weird lines that are happening in the color, I just feel like it's a little light, and maybe I'm being nitpicky. And if you look at this and think you absolutely love the color and how much pigment you get, then that's great. That's what these videos are for, to show you so you can make that decision for yourself. But for me personally, I'm just trying to give my opinion. I think it's fine. I'm not overwhelmed and blown away, but it's fine. Now let's go ahead and put on some of, I'll just use the same primer. I'm not planning to wear this look today just because it's two different eye looks, so I'm planning to wash my face off and do another look during naps today. I was hoping to finish this before everyone woke up, but that's okay. They're all waking up, coming in and out. I hope you guys don't mind the noise, but anyway, so I'm not gonna like worry about putting down glitter primer. And I think these are pretty firmly pressed, so hopefully they'll go on okay. So let's go in with that yellow. I'm gonna put the yellow first, and this is not a pressed glitter. Ooh, this looks really nice. This is a little bit like a messy, you know, like a, what do you call? Powdery, I guess you could say, but ooh, the pigment, I don't mind it. It's got nice pigment, and so far looks like it's got a little bit of shine to it too. So I think what I'm gonna do is cut this up, and then I'm gonna put one of those pressed glitters just on the center of my lid, and that'll be lots of sparkle. Hopefully it'll kind of mesh. But I'm gonna put this closest to my inner corner and stuff. Glitters always make me a little bit nervous. But I am happy to hear that they put out a non-pressed glitter version. I think that's awesome. Definitely a route I would have went if I was purchasing this, just because I don't prefer pressed glitters. Anyway, I'm gonna go on with this now. Let me try my finger, because I feel like that's gonna be the best bet. I'm just gonna pop it right on here. Yeah, it has that typical kind of like pressed glitter, Vaseline-y. So hopefully if I kind of do some pressing, I don't know, I feel like pressed glitters are hard. It's not gonna wanna like mesh with the look very well. Yeah, I'm trying to like kind of shear it out and kind of go around it, and I feel like it's just not moving. Why is there purple there? Oh, shoot. I had a little bit of chunk of matte purple there. Oh well. Alright, I'm gonna try my brush to see if I can kind of put it right here. I'm gonna go back on top with just a little bit of that yellow. I think that's just what we're gonna do. I don't know, I'm not the happiest with this look. And maybe it's my own fault for trying to do this with a glitter on top of a little bit of shimmer. They have a tacky feel to them, so I feel like if I was going to try to wear this all day, I would need to top it with like that NBA glitter primer serum. I have to top it just to make it not so sticky, because as I'm opening my eyes and as I'm touching it, it almost has a sticky factor to it. Let's go ahead and take a little bit of that purple again. Work around you, bub. And I'm going to put it right on top, just to kind of cover a couple of the glitters, so that maybe it kind of has a more seamless blend. I don't know. It's not super pigmented, so or like a deep of a purple. Not that it's not pigmented. It's not a super deep purple, so I feel like it's not going to do much there. I don't know. That's gonna be it. I'm just gonna leave it there. We got something going on there. Let's do the lower lash line now. I'm gonna go in with, once again, that dark purple, and then I'm gonna put that yellow on. Oops, you okay? You cleaning my brushes? Thank you. That yellow on the inner half. So come down like this. I think the mattes are nice mid-tone colors, but as far as like having depth for a look, it's missing something for me personally. And I'm so sorry if I'm going out of focus, because I keep kind of moving around trying to work around, seeing around the little guy. Alright, I got lots of glitter on my under eyes. Gonna clean off that same brush, and let's go into that Desert Dreams. Oh, I just cleaned the one. Sorry. That Desert Dreams, kind of like that mustardy tone. I love this tone. Yeah, they have like a soft pigment to them, and like a soft pressing. Almost reminds me, like dipping into them, of those Mydas Cosmetics, like the pigment that, or like the softness that their shadows are. But then the pigment, when you actually use it, is like a lot softer in general than what you get with Menagerie, if that makes sense. I'm really trying to vocalize and help here on what I'm feeling as I'm using these. They're okay. They're all right. This is the look. Let's go ahead. Oh, I need an inner corner. Let's do the pink. I'm gonna pop it in here. I think the shimmers, the two shimmers, this one and the yellow one, are really, really nice. Kind of like the same story with Mydas. Oh, no, no, no. I don't need you to dip them in. I just need you to clean them. Thank you. They're really nice. They're more of a softer, kind of just a simple type of shimmer than the Mydas side. The Mydas obviously has just, it looks wet on my lid, which is very pretty. Thank you. I love you. But the mattes, I feel like for both palettes are just like, they're nice. So at this point, I love you. At this point, let me go ahead and just get some close-ups. I'll put on a touch of mascara just so you guys can kind of see my lashes. But like I said, I'm gonna be clean. Go ahead. I'm gonna be cleaning my face off or my eyes off after this before I go start my day. So I don't want to go all out finishing my eyes up. But I'll go ahead and do that. We're going to get some close-ups. I'm gonna zoom back here and we can close out this video. All right, so I finished off the looks just, you know, a little bit. Like I said, I don't plan to keep this on too long, so I didn't do too much, but I'll go ahead and stick up close-ups while I give you guys kind of like my first impression, my final first impression thoughts. Now, please keep in mind, this is my first impression thoughts. I haven't tried them, like wear time. I don't know anything about the wear time. And then also I haven't tried different type of primers, different type of color combinations, that sort of thing. So this is just what you guys saw me put on my eyes, my first impressions on this. And overall, let's start with the Mydas side, the Sinti palette. I overall like this side the best. The mattes are very soft, they're gentle. They do show up, they are very nice, but they just, like I said, have a softness to them. And then also with the darker outer shade, like I said, there were those issues that I was starting to experience blending another shade on top of it wanting to kind of like patch off. My big kind of hesitation with the palette is just how those mattes were wanting to blend when I was wanting to combine a couple of them. The darker shades with the lighter shades, like it really wasn't looking great. I don't know how much you'll be able to see in like on the camera, but in person while I was doing it and applying it, I was like red alert, oh no, like it's gonna start causing issues. I was able to get it to blend out just fine, but I definitely had to kind of tiptoe around the colors to make sure it didn't go south too bad. And then that, you know, green shade that I used in the inner corner, it was fine, but then I tried to top it and get more depth with this other green down there, August. And like, yeah, there's definitely some depth there, but definitely like pigmentation wise and intensity wise, I don't know, it's not what I was picturing when I was wanting to add that shade there. I thought there would be a little bit more impact with that color there. As of now, it's just kind of like a little bit more shading there than it was. The shimmers, however, are really, really pretty. Both of them are those type of shimmers that I feel like is very popular right now with indie brands. I've only tried Gourmande Girl Cosmetics and Saint Angel Sinners. Those are the two that come off the top of my head, but I believe Sugar Drizzle Cosmetics is another brand. So while they're really pretty, they might not be super unique to your collection if you have palettes from those other brands. And then these two other shimmers in there, I don't know. I didn't use much of them, so maybe I shouldn't say anything, but just using on the inner corner, it was just like, okay, it's just a simple shimmer. So that's kind of overall my first impressions on the Mydas Cosmetics palette. Moving over to this palette, I think the mattes are nice. Like I said, there's a very like intense softness to the mattes when I was blending them out and working with them that, I don't know, I like a little bit more intensity in my mattes. Not that they weren't like pigmented or that they were dry feeling or anything. They were very, you know, soft. They had a lot of powderiness to them. Like they were coming up just fine, but just overall the pigment within the very soft, nice formula of the powder just felt a little soft, I guess. I don't know. I feel like I'm going around in circles, but overall the shadows and the mattes were just very soft. I did like those two shimmers, like the two just regular shimmers that I used. I really did like that formula. So if they have a version where they change and take out all of the pressed glitters and just do those shimmers, I think it would be lovely and gorgeous, and definitely is more of a unique type of shimmer. It's not like the shimmers on this side, like I was saying. They're just really nice, very soft, easy to pick up. They go on really easy, and I have a feeling with this type of shimmer formula, they're also going to wear really nicely. So those two are really nice. And then the pressed glitters, I don't know, I wasn't really crazy about the pressed glitters. They feel kind of sticky. They're already going above my crease as I'm talking. They were kind of hard to place down. Like I said, I was picking them up and trying to like put it higher, but it just wanted to go like on the center of my lid. I don't know. I'm not an expert when it comes to pressed glitters. So overall, I don't know. These pressed glitters didn't impress me, and definitely, you know, now that I've tried them once, I don't really want to go back and try them again. I don't know, it's just not my favorite. So anyway, overall, those are my first impressions and kind of initial thoughts on the Mydas Cosmetics Sinti palette and the Wicket Widow Beauty. It starts with a Y. I can't remember, but this palette as well. I hope these first impressions helped you guys just be able to see how they perform and kind of hear my first initial thoughts. As I said, these are just my first impressions using them one time on the eyes, so maybe, you know, they'll work better as I continue, you know, using them in different ways, in different steps, or with different primers, that sort of thing. But hopefully this video at least helps you kind of see my first thoughts on them, and I'll continue to use them a couple more times before I give you guys my official review on them. But anyway, that is going to do it for me for this video. I hope you enjoyed it and getting to see the little guy in and out. So anyway, with all that said, that is going to do it for me. I'm over on Instagram. I'm LadyKatie92 over there, where I post reels, up close eye pictures, all that sort of thing. And I'll see you guys very soon in my next video. Bye guys.
Bye.
Bye.